Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about. We're going to talk. I'm going to tell you, as a dungeon master, why your player characters hate your good aligned non-player. Your good and aligned prominent non-player characters so much, right? So we just finished an index card RPG Mass Effect series. It was three separate seasons, three separate campaigns, and we had the series. We had the campaign series finale, right? And here's what happened. My character, Christoph Kor, who was the captain of the USS Midway in Mass Effect, in our Mass Effect game, and was a story until the end of the game, until the end of the campaign series, was a story respected Citadel infiltrator, right? Who was killed by a non-player character. I'm sorry, my player character was killed by another player character in the last 5 minutes of the game. Everything Christoph Kor, my player character, my captain infiltrator character did, ended in an he's just an asterisk of shame in the index card RPG world now, right? Nothing he did mattered, and I have to say I'm really vexed by what happened in the game. All right, so here's what happened, right? So early season 1, Commander Shepard shows up, right? And day 1, I hate this guy, right? My player character, Christoph Kor, absolutely despises Commander Shepard and spent a lot of the game trying to stop him, right? And he's a good aligned, but I knew this from the gate, and I was right. And I'm saying I'm right now, and I'm trying to warn you as a dungeon master to cut this nonsense out. It is so frustrating to your players. It is, and it's an old dungeon master mistake, and it just never stops. It drives me bananas. Okay, so here we go. So season 1, Commander Shepard shows up, and I'm like, get the F out. I do not want you in this game. And the reason why is you're always going to be the hero, and my character is always going to be the stinking dirt farmer, right? But I gave the dungeon master, the mechanical dungeon master, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold, I'm going to try to just think that I'm wrong and that the things my character does in this game can matter. None of it mattered. Nothing Christopher Kor did matter. At the end of the series, he died in a pool of blood, of his own blood, bleeding out from a pistol wound to his brain pan, while Commander Shepard saved Admiral Hackett, right? And I knew from season 1 this was the only place it was going, because the dungeon master fell in love with Mass Effect, played 100, 200, maybe 300 hours of the game, and Commander Shepard became his pet non-player character, right? And I knew that Commander Shepard was the real star of the game, and we were just riding along in this, and we meant nothing, right? Now, I was wrong. There were other player characters. Actually, every other player character at the table was able to successfully get accolades and do heroic things, right? Christopher Kor died in a pool of his own blood, right? Having been killed by another player character at the table who laughed when he did it. That's, and so I detested Commander Shepard because it's not because my dungeon master is stupid. He's not. He's actually brilliant. He's a brilliant dungeon master, and he cared a lot about the game. What he couldn't do is he could not put his mind, he couldn't put his mind over his heart, right? He's smart enough to know that you should not run a Mass Effect game where one of your player characters lies in a pool of blood while Commander, at the end of the entire series, while Commander Shepard saves the day, right? This mistake of running a non-player character who's awesome while the player characters suck, it's old as dirt. It is the oldest mistake in the book, right? Most people make this mistake when they're in junior high, when they start running when they can, at 12 years old in Dungeons and Dragons. And by the way, Index Card RPG, if you're not aware, is a brilliant redux of Dungeons and Dragons, right? But it's just so frustrating, and so please don't make this mistake. Please, because I had to, the second Shepard showed up, I was like, I know where this is going. He's the hero, I suck. And I was right. I was 100% right. My hatred for Commander Shepard was due and warranted. He was always going to be the hero, and my character was always going to be a dirt farmer. It was from day one, right? And so if you are a dungeon master, please don't make this mistake, right? If you are a player, if this happens at your table, keep your cool, right? And also, just want to let you know, right? I've said this before, I'm going to tap it again, right? At the end of this campaign, the dungeon master said, "What did you guys think?" And I'll tell you right now, like, if anything significant happens in your game, your players cannot answer that question, right? Because your players may be incredibly vexed and incredibly frustrated and in deep sorrow, but they can't say that at the table because everybody's coming to have a good time. Because there's still this expectation on Dungeons and Dragons that its highest purpose is fun, right? And so you don't want to spoil the mood of the table, right? I was incredibly vexed. I was incredibly frustrated. I was incredibly sorrowful because this shenanigan player said, "Oh, it'd be fun for me to murder your character, your player character." Yeah. Now and now I'm in this situation where I'm just like, why is this person at the table? It's so frustrating. It is, and all the other thing is, it's hard to land the ending on a campaign, let alone a series of campaigns, right? And so I have great sympathy for this dungeon master, and I know he did the best job he could. But I have to tell you, like, I knew the second that Commander Shepard showed up that he was the hero and I was the dirt farmer, and nothing I did would matter, and nothing in the world was going to change Commander Shepard saving the day at the end. And that's exactly what happened, right? So try to live past the negative expectations of your players if you're a dungeon master. It's hard because you have to put your mind over your heart, right? And then the reality is my dungeon master loved Commander Shepard and did not care what happened to Kristoff Core. Did not care, right? And allowed another player character to shoot him in the head and let him shamefully bleed out, right? In front of all the other player characters while they all got their, Han Solo medals. And, Chewbacca didn't get a medal. My character literally died in a pool of his own blood, having been shot by another player character. It is frustrating. So, don't do it. Don't make your pet non-player character the star. And I can't believe I'm on the internet saying this, because this problem's been around for decades, and it just keeps happening at tables. It took me 24 hours of play to get there, but I was right. Commander Shepard was always going to be the star, and I was always going to be just some, useless sack of meat on the ground, dying shamefully, right? I knew it the second Shepard showed that he was the star and my character was nothing, and I was right. That's where we landed. Don't do this. Do not do this in your game. All that's my humble opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.